Looking at question 1 of the NSC 2019 paper for mathematics, paper 1. Question 1 is mainly the focus of algebra, so this is what this video will be about. So let's go on to it. Question 1.1, they want us to solve for x, and our first equation is x squared minus 5x minus 6 is equal to 0. This, we can either factorize it or we can use the quadratic formula. I prefer to use the most simple method, which is factorization. So the factors of 6 that I'll use to give me negative 5 will be negative 6 and plus 1. So it'll be x, negative 6, and x plus 1. Therefore, x can either be 6 or x can be negative 1. Next question is open bracket 3x minus 1 close bracket, open bracket x minus 4 close bracket is equal to 16. So, and they want us to correct to 2 decimal places, so that immediately makes me think that we have to use the quadratic formula. And let's times out the brackets first, and then take over the 16 to the other side, and that will ultimately leave us with 3x squared minus 13x minus 12 is equal to 0. And once we swap it in the quadratic formula, we'll get x is equal to 13 plus minus square root of negative 13 squared minus 4 times 3 times minus 12 over 2 times 3. That will ultimately give us, once we put that in the calculator, 13 plus minus square root of 313 over 6. So once you make that into decimals, x can either be 5.12 or x can be negative 0.78. So that's that question. 1.1.3 is 4x squared minus x, 4x minus x squared must be greater than or equal to 0. So this is an inequality. So let's first factorize this part. I can immediately see the common factor of x. So once I take x out, I get 4 minus x is less than or equal to 0. We can also take it as negative to make it much more easier. So we have negative x and negative 4 plus x is less than or equal to 0. Now remember, or this can also be negative x 4 minus x less than or equal to 0. To get rid of this negative, I'm gonna divide both sides by a negative, and remember, whenever we divide by a negative, the sign changes, so it's going to give us x. Let me just make this a much more easier way to read. X minus 4 0. And since this is an x squared, remember, we have to think as if it's a parabola. So here will be a 0 and here will be a 4. And now they want us to know for which values of x will be less than 0. So where it will be negative on this graph, which is this part here. Therefore, x will be between 0 and 4. 1.1.4 is exponential So it'll be 5 to the power of 2x minus 1 over 5 to the power of x plus 1 is equal to 4. The one in blue here, I can immediately see this is a difference of squares, so which means we can factorize it. So this will give me, in bracket 5x plus 1, bracket 5 to the power of x minus 1 over 5 to the power of x plus 1 is equal to 4. Now these will cancel out, therefore 5 to the power of x minus 1 is equal to 4. Once I take the negative 1 to the other side, it will give me 5 to the power of x is equal to 5, which is basically the same as 5 to the power 1. Therefore, x will equal 1. Now for 1.2, this is a simultaneous equation. So this will be my equation 1. This will be my equation 2. I'm just going to manipulate my equation 1 to be much more simpler. So then I'm going to say x is equal to minus 3y plus 2. And that will be my equation 3. So I'm just going to sub my equation 3 into my equation 2. That will give me negative 3y plus 2 squared plus 4 times negative 3y plus 2y minus 5 is equal to 0. So once I times all of that out, I'm gonna get 9y squared minus 12y plus 4 plus 8y minus 12y squared minus 5 is equal to 0. And once I simplify that further, I'm gonna get negative 3y squared plus 4y plus 1 is equal to 0. And then that means I can factorize it. So how about 3x here, x here, and it can only be 1. So it'll be negative 1 plus 1. Oh, it'll be both pluses, sorry about that. So therefore y will be negative 1 over 3, or y will be negative 1. Then I'm going to sub that into my third equation, which will give me, for y is negative a third, x will be 3, and for where y is negative 1, x will be 5. So that's that. Now for 1.3, they say a rectangular box has dimensions A, B, and C. The area of the surfaces are 2 square root 10, 3 square root 2, and 6 square root 5 as shown in the diagram below. Now they want us to calculate without using a calculator the volume of the rectangular box. So let's write this out in ways we understand. So they want us to know the areas. So they gave us the areas of the surfaces. So A times B is 2 root square root 10. B times C is 3 square root 2, because remember, area of a square is length times base. And then A times C is 6 square root 5. Okay. Now remember, the way to calculate volume is length times base times height for a box, rectangular box. So it'll be AB times BC times AC, which is 2 square root 10 times 3 square root 2 times 6 square root 5. So I'm going to times all the square roots together. Whoops, sorry about that. I accidentally erased. I'm gonna times all the square roots together and times all the whole numbers together. So 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 times 6 is 36, so that's our first number. 2 times 5 is 10, and 10 times 10 is 100, so it'll be square root over 100 is equal to the volume. So I want to get rid of the square root, so I'm going to square both sides. So that will give me oh, sorry, I made a mistake. So you should know AB times BC times AC is the same as ABC squared. Therefore, ABC squared is the same as 36 square root 100. Okay, so I'm going to square root both sides to get rid of the squared. So ABC will be equal to 36 times 100, which will be 360, which is the same as saying 6 is the square root of 10. Okay, that's it, guys.